This is it! It's E3! It happened!
Hello! We've just witnessed E3.
Yes, the Electronic Entertainment Expo.
And now we're about to tell you about it.
Woohoo! On a previous episode of Fresh Happenings, we actually made some bold and insane predictions. So what we're going to do now is, before we get into our thoughts on what actually went down at E3, we're just going to reel through our predictions and see how we actually did. You actually wrote down our predictions on Post-its.
So Chris, your first prediction, I want to trust that you're not lying, and if it did happen, you'll tell me that it did happen. And it's also your guys' job in the comments to say, wait a minute, that didn't happen, or wait a minute, Adam was damn close there, he should have got a point. Right, so your first prediction was that Bethesda would release, or at least announce, a new IP. And you did go a bit further, saying it would be a space game.
They did, it's called Starfield. No announced date, but it's coming.
I said Bethesda would announce the next Elder Scrolls game.
And they did.
That's one of the clips I've seen. I do know that happens. Your number two, which you will have had to watch a lot of E3, you've made this prediction hard for yourself to judge, but you said there'd be at least 5 Battle Royale games, and I want you guys to clock him on this.
So we had Battlefield 5, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Rapture Rejects.
Yep, that's 3. So you've got 3. I think we're pushing it for 5, but you guys may have seen something we haven't. So if Chris has got 5, we will give him the point. But for now, as you can't find them,
it's not
no
there.
point. So my second one was really out there. I went for some form of announcement for Bully 2, and I don't believe it was mentioned at all. Your third prediction, but you said there'd be a very brief Splinter Cell teaser.
There was none.
No Splinter Cell teaser. My third one, Smash Bros would be released for Nintendo. A new one, couldn't be a port, with at least 15 characters announced. Now I do know that they announced way more than 15, and it was Smash Bros Ultimate. Your next prediction was that Microsoft would not announce a single new IP.
They did not. About reading the tea leaves, reading them, predicting the future.
But my next one was Xbox would announce a new Fable game.
They did not.
Fine. Next one, so we both had a prediction, which I know we both didn't get a point for, so this wasn't announced. We tried to predict the release date for the Avengers game. We both took a punt at it.
Yeah.
There were none. So
there wasn't even
we don't
a trailer.
know. You said there would be a game that was very close to its original, but had extra bits. You said there'd be a nice mix on Resident Evil 2.
Ah, yeah.
Now I think you've got this spot on.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it more later, but there are the added bits that you went into. If you watch that video again, Chris pretty much describes exactly how they describe what the game is gonna be. My next prediction was Bloodborne 2. Sadly, still hoping. Maybe next year's E3. Next one for you. N64 Classic would be announced.
No, it wasn't.
No, easy, none. Another quick one for me, Mortal Kombat 11. No. Another one for you, Doom 2.
Yes, Doom 2 was announced, Doom Eternal.
Your next prediction was another Nintendo, was Mii Sports.
Ah, yeah, that didn't happen.
No Mii Sports.
I'm a dreamer, what can I say?
But I said there would be a soft reboot of Devil May Cry. Now I know that Devil May Cry, is it 5? This one is coming out, but it does have a different twist. I did say it would be a soft reboot, and I don't believe it is. I think it's more them going back to how it used to be.
It's actually a direct sequel to number 4.
Your next one wasn't close at all either, because it was Minecraft 2.
We can go with that one again next year.
And again, I was very close, but I went too hard on the reboot. An Assassin's Creed reboot, but no point. Unless you guys think I was close enough when you watched the other video.
You don't get a point for that.
Let's carry on with this video on a little few of your thoughts on the actual conference itself, some of your highlights, and I show them a few videos of what we like.
First on the list is Anthem. This is EA and BioWare's big games as a service game due out in February next year. Has you taken on the role of like an Iron Man type dude?
Now I imagine this is something you are quite interested. Oh,
I'm skeptical on it, mainly because of the whole debacle last year with EA and everything they were doing with loot boxes and stuff. The game itself though looks gorgeous.
Can't knock it for how it looks. It looks fantastic. And it does kind of have that Destiny vibe to me, that you're going around in a team.
Which is, I think that going around in a team's fine. My concern is this going to be too much like Destiny? Hopefully they put their own spin on it. But you know what? The flight and the combat looks amazing. Next on the reel is Fallout 76, which is Bethesda's also multiplayer online game, due out in November. How are you feeling about Fallout 76?
I assume, again, it looks brilliant, but 76 I think is going to be the same for me. It's kind of got that deep south of America feel. I can't remember exactly where it's based. I'm sure if you love Fallout, you are very excited. But for me, just not my bag. But how about you? Because I know you enjoyed the last one.
Yeah, I really loved Fallout 4. A lot of the settlement building and stuff like that I quite enjoyed. I know a lot of people didn't like that. I did. And the fact that I get to do it. What I like is it's not an MMO. This is more just like, it's a co-op Fallout game. And I think I'm into that, you know. Being able to play Fallout with just a few friends is really what I'm after. So yeah, I'm all up on this. Can't wait for November.
So next up is a classic series, Tomb Raider, coming with Shadow of the Tomb Raider. What did you think?
Yeah, it looks cool. I still haven't had time to play Rise of the Tomb Raider, so I won't be getting around to this one this side of 2019. It does look cool. I think the aesthetic with the tidal wave and the much darker tone, and it seems a bit supernatural going on there. It does look really cool. These Tomb Raider games, they're never bad. They're always consistently good, but they always kind of just fall into like just a big pack of everything else that's good that's coming out.
When people say their favourite games of the year, I very rarely hear somebody go, Tomb Raider was my favourite game of the year.
For sure.
So they are quality games, but I think it's more, right, I finished that game, I've got a few months before this comes out, I'll whack a Tomb Raider on. So next is a game that actually intrigued me, and it's Cyberpunk 2077. It's made by the same company as The Witcher. There's some really interesting things when creating characters. I don't know how much of this you've looked into, but not only can you customise how your character looks, you have to build their backstory from the start.
That's like Mass Effect, that is.
Yeah, so you pick one of 3 backgrounds where you were born, one of 3 reasons why you're in the city, one of 3 of your idols, so there's 3 idols to pick who you look up to, and it completely changes how your game plays.
That's cool,
Now that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, what's interesting I heard about it this week is the game's actually first person, and they really want the city to kind of be quite intimate, so that's what they're going for with the first person. But though I have heard there is third person aspects to it. No announcement on the date, so we don't know when it's coming, unfortunately. Bethesda capped off their show with a couple of teasers for games that look like they're a long way down the line. The first of which is Starfield. We mentioned it back in the predictions.
You called it.
Yeah, it's their space game. It's the first new IP that Bethesda have developed in-house as Bethesda Game Studios since, I don't know, in such a long time. We don't really know a lot of details about it. Is it too safe to assume it's going to be like Fallout and Elder Scrolls? I kind of feel like they might take this in a different direction, and I think they might be wanting to go bigger.
Yeah, I can envisage in my head how a Fallout / Skyrim in space would play.
I just feel like they might be wanting to do their own stamp with this and change the way you perceive a Bethesda game. It's a good opportunity to do it with a new IP as well. The other game that was announced at the end of their conference was the Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, anything around Elder Scrolls, people love. Skyrim is still being bought. It's still getting ported to like Switch and stuff, isn't it? VR did it. I'm sure there's loads of people that are super excited, including me. I'm always intrigued to see what new races there are. It's just a cool game. I like that sort of play style.
I think the weird thing is Bethesda don't traditionally do this and announce games that far in advance. What we're seeing here is a game, you think about like they're just releasing Fallout 76 now, this is the same developer, and then they've got Starfield to work on first. And then so where does Elder Scrolls 6 fit into that? I just don't. Everyone should set expectations for this game now and expect it in about 5 years' time, at the very least.
Then we move on to Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I've never given one a go, and there is one free on PlayStation Plus. I think it's part of the intro to the last Assassin's Creed, the Egyptian one.
Maybe.
It's free on a PlayStation, so I might give it a go. What if I enjoy that, then with the setting of ancient Greece, I could see myself enjoying it, but until then, it's just not my bag.
Yeah, this seemed like one of the most un-Assassin's Creed-like games that we've seen in a while. I particularly like that you can now choose between being a male or a female character. I think that's really cool. I quite like just the Greek aesthetic anyway. So now they're doing these big open world RPGs really, is what they're making now. I think that's just, they're much
revitalised.
Yeah. Capcom pulled a double whammy at both Microsoft's conference and Sony's conference. At Microsoft's, they announced Devil May Cry 5, the sequel to Devil May Cry 4. It looks proper bonkers. I'm not really a huge fan of the Nero character, who was the main protagonist in number 4. Dante's always been my guy, but by the looks of things, apparently there's 3 playable characters in this
Do
one.
you play it?
You play as Nero and Dante, and a new character as well, which I'm okay with it. The trailer seemed quite bombastic, and the way they were presenting Nero seemed really fun. That kind of quelled any like, oh, not this guy again. You know what I mean? Capcom brought everything back this year. They also brought back Resident Evil 2. Probably one of their most critically applauded games of all time. Coming back as a brand new remake, I think following the same kind of DNA as the old Resident Evil GameCube remake from 2003. They're kind of changing things up a bit. The characters look slightly different, the setting's slightly different.
You called it pretty much spot on in your predictions. You said
Well,
that
I was just
exactly
thinking
what it was
about like what they were going to do, what they did with previous remakes, and it just makes sense. It's in their DNA to do that again, and everyone loves Resident Evil 2, so it's nice to really bring it back into the modern era, a game that we all really, really love. And you know what's really surprising? It's out in January.
Yeah.
They kept that under the hood, didn't they, for so long? And you know, now it's arriving at the same time as Kingdom Hearts 3, so I better get saved my money and just calling off all social engagements.
Yeah, make a big gap in your calendar because both of them games are going to be relatively long. So next on the list is Last of Us, or The Last of Us Part 2. Oh, the first one's amazing, and I think the second one could top it because those cinematics, I would quite happily just watch the film.
Yeah, oh my days. Like it's just everything I want in a game. It's just pure storytelling. The animation is stunning.
Yeah.
Showed a lot of gameplay there. It's very fluid.
It's one of them ones that it's going to be so good. The first one was brilliant. I think they're going to top it. What we haven't seen, or what I haven't seen, is many clickers so far. They seem to be way more in the human side of this.
I quite like that. Looking forward to seeing where Joel's at in this, because they mentioned like, oh, your old man's been having a go at me for slacking on guard duty or whatever, so I'm interested to see what's been going on in their lives since we last left them.
From very exciting to exciting but really odd, Death Stranding. This face pretty much sums up my opinion on what I've seen so far.
Yeah, it's Hideo Kojima's debut game for Kojima Productions outside of Konami.
It does definitely have a bit of a sign. It's that fog and those creatures in the fog is very Silent Hills-y.
Also very sci-fi orientated and getting like a lot of H.G. Geiger alien vibes from this. It's just, I think it has such an intriguing mythology behind it. What's with the babies? What's with the shadow monsters? What's with the monsters that are invisible?
What's with the little fans?
Why are you a postman?
It's one of those games that you'd get and go into it without knowing anything, and it's one I'd probably want to avoid watching playthroughs before buying it. I think you need to get it and just enter this world not knowing what you're entering.
Sony capped off the end of their conference with a more thorough look at September's SpiderMan. It looks sick. The combat on it, like there was that bit where he jumps up in the air and he sprays all these like bullet type web things out, and I was just like, man, this is awesome. And then you see him web slinging.
Can't really go wrong if you nail web slinging well. People enjoyed that from most previous Spider-Man games. People wouldn't even play the game. They'd spend 2 hours just swinging through the city and enjoying that. If they can nail that into the great combat, the great villains, the way Arkham do villains is fantastic. They can do that with the Spider-Man villains.
All the villains that we saw in there, Scorpion, Vulture, Electro.
It's not Rhino, is it?
Yeah, it was Rhino.
There you go.
It was Rhino, yeah.
It was always going to be good. People forget how good Spider-Man's villains are as a group. They're just fantastic. That game is going to be great. Finally, into the party game realm, because we're getting a new Smash Brothers. Yeah! Now, there's some great things about Smash Brothers. I've been reading up on it. This is the one that got me to look outside of what was said at E3 and see if anything else was said and to watch the whole conference of it. They've announced that every single character that's ever been in the Smash Brothers will be in this game, which is a hell of a lot of characters. When they were showing, we're about to show you which characters are in it, and it just kept going. and going. I was like, how many are you putting in this? But it's not just they're putting the characters from other games in it. They're giving them new fighting styles and new outfits, so they're all being updated. So it doesn't feel like a port where they've just thrown all their games together.
Also, they added in the Inklings.
They're in, and all the old classics were there. I did lift them off, and I know you took the mick at me listing off all the Mario characters, but they're all in there.
They're all in there.
Of course they are.
So it's been an exciting E3. I absolutely loved all the game announcements. Conferences were really strong. Looking forward to another 2 years of playing all these different games. There is so much to play.
So all that's left to say is like, share and subscribe. Thank you to the patrons, and we'll see you again in another Fresh Happenings.